This bit at the top, library, is a way of cataloguing clips. Now, at the moment, I've got nothing in it. As you can see, no clips at all, because I haven't added anything into my library. You do that by going down to a folder full of clips, or a particular clip, right-clicking on it, and you say, register it to the library. And what that will do is take what's in there and then put it into the library. Two different things you can do. You can register it to the library, or you can import it. Registering it to the library puts it in the database, so you can start cataloguing it, but doesn't do anything else. Importing it puts it into the database and also copies it to a different place on your computer. Most of the time, to be honest, I just register stuff and then I use it to sort of sort through my clips. But if you want to, you can use it to copy your clips as well. Where the clips go is up here. So you can see there's an import to, and it's currently set to the C drive. So I could just click on this and then I could choose somewhere else. Let's call it Mync Video. And now everything I choose is going to import into the Mync Video library. So what I could do is choose the Richard Trains folder, right click on it and say import it and register it. So it's going to take that stuff, copy it into that folder that I've popped in up here, and at the same time put it into the database. When you're importing into the database, you've basically got three options. Register it to a favourite, or create a catalogue. These ones at the bottom do exactly the same thing. It's just the ones that say including subfolders. Surprisingly, they do that folder and anything underneath it. Whereas if you just do that, it just does that one folder. All I'm going to do is register it to the library, and I'll do the other couple in a minute. So click on that and off it goes. Starts doing stuff. It said, oh, I've started importing it. It's given me some numbers up there. You can see it's copying it at the top. There's another thing up there saying something's going on. There's a little X next to it, so I can stop it if I want to. But basically what that's done once it's finished is taken all those clips and put them into my library. And you can now see I've got 38 clips in my library. And if I go to that Mync Video folder, you can see, oh, there's something with today's date. And inside of that, there's a lot of folders with a lot of clips in them. It's actually made me out one individual folder for each clip. You know, each one now is a separate little AVCHD folder of its own. It does different things with different types of clips. That's what it happens to do with AVCHD. Now, I didn't have to do the whole folder. If I go to a different one, you notice I can untick some so they don't get imported. I can right click on a particular clip and just say register that, or import and register that. So, you know, again, the same thing. Just shove it in the database or copy it. Or if I wanted to, I could say, let's do that entire folder. Let's right click on that, import it, and include subfolders. And it'll bring that lot in for me. Now the difference with, say, register to library just means it doesn't copy it. Import it means it puts it in wherever that is. It does default to the C drive, so make sure that you are changing that before you start importing stuff. You can also add in metadata. So there'll be a bunch of information on those clips when they were filmed in the first place. You can add more stuff into it. Most of these just say auto detect. You notice Maker has Panasonic on it, as well as auto detect. Why does it have Panasonic? Because I brought some clips in, and they were filmed on a Panasonic camera. If I choose a clip, this information window pops up with information, and it says things like, oh, the maker of those ones is Panasonic. I can always go to a particular clip, like that one, and let's pretend that was made by Bovril. So I'm going to click on the clip, go to the settings over here, and I'm going to change it to Bovril. So now that clip was made by Bovril. Well, if I now come back to this folder and go to the maker, I've now got Bovril as an option, as well as Panasonic. You'll find you start getting more and more stuff in here. You know, it depends on what data was on the camera in the first place. The train clips were filmed on a Panasonic 151 camera. Well, it noticed Panasonic because that was actually in the clips. It didn't notice the camera model because that wasn't in the clips, but other cameras will have more information in them. I can also make up my own metadata tags. So let's go, say, to these interviewee clips here. Now at the moment I can't put any tags on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to register them into the library. So I'm just going to select that, right click and say register to library. Now I'm registering, not importing, so they're not going to be copied. It's just going to add them in. So it's quicker because it didn't actually have to do any copying. Then I'm going to go to the list of clips, find some of these, and I'm going to start to add some tags in. So for example, that was done with the Panasonic, but let's say it was done with a 151 camera. And it was created by me, And I'm going to tag it with the words interview. Now if I come back here, you'll notice that I've actually got in 151 in there. I've got a creator of DVC in there, so I can add in more tags once they're in the library, and then when I'm importing stuff I can shove all those tags onto a bunch of clips as I'm doing it. So I've just been importing one folder at a time. As I say, you can actually get it to import a whole folders full of stuff. I've got a folder here called Basics, which has got lots of different types of footage in there, which I use for demonstrations all the time. I've got some HDV in there, I've got some 3D clips in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's bring that whole lot in. I'm not going to copy it because that'll take longer, but I'm just going to bring those in and register it to the library. And I want it to register every single subfolder. So go through the lot and bring them all in for me. So I'm going to right click on it and say register to library. But when I bring them in, I also want them to be in their own little catalogue. So in addition to being with all the clips, I want them to have a little sort of subfolder, or catalogue as Mync calls it, which has got all those clips in it. You notice you have got catalogue and smart catalogue and storyboard here. I'm going to make up a catalogue which has got all those clips in it. So to do that, I'm going to right click on it, register it to the library, but instead of just using the top one, I'm going to come down here and say register it and create a catalogue. So they go into the all clips, but they're also there in their own little subfolder. So let's just do that. Register to the library, create a catalogue, including the subfolders. It's got quite a few clips to go through. There's 170 clips. There are lots of different types of clips. Now I have to admit, this is one time when I occasionally had problems with Mync, because I will point it at a folder full of all sorts of rubbish, and sometimes there'll be some kind of clip in there, maybe a corrupt clip, maybe a really weird format clip, and it doesn't like it and it crashes. Did in this case, because I know all this stuff is just normal regular clips. But now you can see my all clips has got all that stuff in, and I've got a catalogue called Basics. It's called Basics because that's what the folder was, which again has got all those clips in. The catalogue only has 170 clips were in there. The all clips has got everything. And then if you look at that, you can see obviously you've got pictures of me and shots of Brighton, some 3D shots, loads and loads of different types of stuff. Some of this has got information. This was filmed on a Panasonic camera. The 3D stuff was filmed on a Sony camera. Just looking at this here, I can see I've got some metadata tagged with it, but I've also got other stuff that was on there from the camera. But now you can see I can go through and I can look at all the clips, or I can just look at stuff in that particular catalogue. I can also tag it in various ways. Let's take these shots from an air show, and I'm just going to select all of them and right click on one and say edit properties. And I'm going to say, okay, this stuff was all filmed on a, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was a Panasonic camera. Oh, I started typing the word Panasonic and it prompted me for the one that already exists. That's nice. Camera model, no idea. I made it, DVC, and I'm going to tag this stuff with the word planes. Nothing immediately has happened, although if you do look at them, you'll notice it's got the tag planes in there. But because I've tagged it, I can now start to create other catalogues. So I created this one on the way in. I can create a smart catalogue. Smart catalogues are, well, they're smart. Because what you can do is you can say, right, create me a list of all the clips that match certain criterion. All you do is you click on that, give it a name. Let's call it planes. And now here you get the option of what sort of clips you're going to show. So for example, here I can click on that and I can say, well, let's go to tags and choose planes. That's now showing me, out of all the clips, it's showing me all the ones that say planes. And what's really great about it is I can now go to any folder. Let's take that clip. I'm going to add a tag on it of planes. I know it's not a plane, but what the hell. And I'm going to right click on that and say register it to the library. It's popped it into the library. But my smart catalogue of planes has also been updated because I tagged it with the word planes on the way in. You come into here and it goes straight into that smart catalogue. And that's the nice thing about smart catalogues, because you can tag stuff either as you're bringing them in or when they're in, and then you can have catalogues that expand depending on the tags. So you can bring some stuff in and organise it. That's what's really groovy about it. Now all of that stuff basically works in the free version of Mync. And there's a lot of other stuff I could tell you about that. So there's some really nice things to do with looking for offline clips. This is clips that have been registered to the catalogue but have been deleted. Looking for duplicate clips, all this kind of stuff. We do have a lot more information about that on our Edius tutorial. But the next thing I want to look at is storyboards. Now, storyboards are something that is only in the paid version of Mync or in the one that comes with Edius. And what it lets you do is basically edit. So let's have a quick look at storyboards.